What's up, everybody? What is up? What is up, everybody? How's it going? I know you can't see me yet, but now you can. Now you can. Now you can. Anyways, we were doing this thing to where we were checking out Ethereum, and then it cut me off. And so we're going to go back to checking out Ethereum. So it's still in that same spot, in that same pesky spot that we were looking at. So, first of all, what I want to say is if you guys like smart money or institutional trading, what that means is basically that the banks or large institutions have taken over and have manipulated it in such a way that it makes the traditional retail trader lose money. So the traditional trader is taught, support resistance, follow trend lines, follow channels, double tops, double bottoms, if it, all those things that you've been taught. Throw that out the window when it comes to smart money. We don't believe in that stuff. We believe in there's basically price levels. There are order blocks. There are bearish breakers, or and breakers. I mean, there are you got to form your bias for what is going on. And then you also have to know where liquidity is. Liquidity is the main thing of the game. So if you like all that, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, please, if you haven't. I bring you a lot of good news, especially through the crypto. What this is traditionally a Forex idea, but it has been drifting over into the crypto world now, and not a lot of people have been exposed to it. So I'm trying to expose as many people as I can to this idea. So if you could, please help me get these people to understand what is happening to the crypto world. So there's the larger coins, such as Ethereum, such as Bitcoin, such as I'm trying to think of, so Litecoin it's been happening. Trying to think of some others to where that it has been happening to. I know Monero, it was happening to for a little bit, but not so much anymore. Since you really can't find it on anything. Let's see here. To Ripple, it was happening to for a little bit. Bitcoin Cash is definitely the one that's been happening to. Zcash, surprisingly, has been having some institutional takeover recently. And it might be at nearly a bounce right now. Dash has seen some institutional takeovers as well. It and Zcash are looking very familiar. Yearn is definitely one that is in the institutional realm. I've called some things on Yearn before that have happened. I'm not so sure about any others. I'm still looking at Cardano to see if it has any kind of influence from institutions. I think it has, but there's really no way for me to prove it just yet. Even though it did fall pretty hard recently, right? Probably within the last day or two. And also, Polkadot, it's getting in there. It's getting in the realm to where institutions are starting to take notice, and they're starting to trade it as well. Now, if you haven't heard the news about BlackBlock, BlackBlock is taking $7 trillion and putting it toward Bitcoin futures. Bitcoin futures absolutely does nothing to the value, the actual value of Bitcoin. So unfortunately, that basically means nothing. It just means that they have money that they can make more money with, while Bitcoin kind of does its thing. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to head on over to Ethereum and check out what is going on with it. Let's go ahead transition over to that. And let's make sure my live is running smoothly. It says not receiving enough, which is funny because last time I did a stream, it was actually working perfectly. I love how it does that. I love how it just decides when it's going to, let a stream run perfectly. I actually just restarted my computer because it kicked me off of having a live stream after 30 minutes. But I think I know what may be the issue, and let me quit those right now. It is BitTorrent and yes, currently active. All streams are recording, so shut down. Are you wished? Oh no, I don't want to shut down OBS. Sorry about that. Just meant to shut down and it looks like that may have solved some of it. Let me take off DLive here, take off BitTorrent. There we go. Let's test our internet speed and make sure we're up to par. So you guys are having to deal with this right off the bat before we even jump into Ethereum. But well, my download speed was at about 80. Now my upload speed is usually at about 16. Right now it's running at around 19, so I should be good to go. I don't know what is happening to where it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I'm sure you guys are seeing it okay. Sorry, Rover T, is Ethereum good to buy now? I am not sure. I'm not sure. I'm still waiting right now to see what's going to happen, because there is this area of liquidity, right, just below it. Right, as a smart money trader, you want to watch out for these, because what I think is going to happen, especially since we have these lows and it's pretty close to where it just came down to, it's probably going to dip down into this. Now, if you're just looking to add more money to your your HODL account, yeah, by all means, throw some in there right now. It's at a pretty decent low. I don't think it's gonna drop like insanely low. But if you're a trader like I am, like I trade CFDs, or it's kind of like unlimited futures. I use the MetaTrader 4 app to do all my stuff. So I have to be really, really careful about where my entries are. Because if I am not, and it goes the opposite direction, I can lose a lot of money really quick. It's not like throwing like, 20 bucks in, and then if it drops like 30%, then I lose, 20% of that 30 bucks. Instead, if I throw 10 cents in and it drops 30 bucks, I lose 30 bucks. So the risk to reward is a lot higher with CFDs if you've never traded with MetaTrader 4 before. That's what I use, and that's what I'm waiting on to see what is going on with this. As you can tell, I fell asleep on the couch at around like 6-7 o'clock. I woke up at like midnight, and then I've just been sitting here watching the charts ever since. So A Rover T, are you a trader, or are you somebody that's actually purchasing through an exchange, may I ask? Like purchasing through an exchange, like are you buying it like through Coinbase or Binance or Kraken or KuCoin, or are you trading it as a future, or are you trading it as a CFD on MetaTrader 4? Um, which one are you at leaning towards, or are you doing? You don't have to answer, I guess. That's kind of a personal question, so never mind. But what has what's interested me is that it's stuck right here, right? So what it's doing is, well, what smart money says is that purchasing through an exchange. Okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, right now is a time, you could throw in a little bit. It's not gonna kill you. It's actually a pretty decent time prior to throw in a little bit. Um, but for me, I am waiting for it to break these lows, um, to try to get a better entry. Because like I said, whenever I called, the reason you see these lines on here is because I called the short whenever it happened, right? So whenever it made the high, and it fell all the way down to here, right before it started retracing, I knew it was going to retrace at least. Let me see here. Well, for some reason, it doesn't even. What happened to it? Oh, for some reason, it's on the wrong one. That's why. So this should actually be down here, right? Because that's where it fell down to. So this is where the low was, right? Before it started retracing. When it started retracing, I should have known it was going to hit the 70.5, right? The 70.5 is where you're always going to see your smart money retracements. It happens all the time. Plus, there was an unbalanced gap here, as you can see from here to here. From there was really no price action happening in this area. Plus, there was a bearish order block in here. That's what this blue line is. And so in this unbalanced gap, there was a bearish order block. That bearish order block, if we, dang it, I need to actually lock that in. Let me lock that in. Well, I shouldn't actually lock that in because it didn't actually go to where I wanted it to go. So let me retry that. Went to the high. Down to the low. Okay, now let's lock it in. There we go. So to find this bearish order block in this unbalanced gap, you find these three bullish candles, right? These three bullish candles, that is smart money buying, right, to make people think is going to go up. So everybody else starts buying. And look at this. Look at how flat these tops are. So as soon as it always happens on the time of the change. So this is a 5-minute candle, right? So directly on the 5 minutes, right? They said boom, sell. Or honestly, what we think as smart money traders, it's an algorithm. Definitely an algorithm, right? Because you don't see these kind of things in in real time, or if this was actually the case of real people buying and selling, you would see wicks all over the place, right? But you don't. Or it's actually somebody with a lot of money who actually just bought up until a certain point and was able to hold it, right? And then once it got there, they were able to boom, sell it right at the exact time and make it go the exact opposite way. No wicks, no nothing, right? So this is your bullish order block, and even on your bullish order block, there is no wick on this one either, right? So that's how we knew this was the bullish order block. It came up, boom, shot it back down. You can see there's wicks all over the place in all these, right? So now that I went back down, came back up, and whenever it came back up, where did it come into? Right into that bearish order block. So it comes back into that bearish order block where they had first bought, right? So they first bought to sell. They buy to sell, right? So since they bought to sell, it got them down to it got them enough to where they could let go of the trade right here, right? They made enough money on the sell. They waited for the retrace, or they somehow forced the money back the way to the retrace, buying it back up, whatever. And then once it got back to here, then they let go of the trade to where they originally bought from, so that way they were no longer in the red. Now, when it came back down to here, it made equal lows. And I told people whenever it makes equal lows, it's going to go through it, pull back and then go down. Why? Because there are people with buy or sell stops, and there are people with buy limits. So the buy limit people, right, they just got screwed because it went right through their buy limit. The sell stop people, they got screwed because it pulled back and took them out of their sell stop. So that's what smart money does. It knows exactly where these people are. Right, it's the liquidity is. That is what liquidity is. It's in these areas right here. So that's what I'm looking at whenever I'm looking at what we're looking at right now. And that's why all these lines are in here, because these things measure out exactly what we're looking for. So as you can see, where we're at right now is it hit the exact 100%. Or the full extension of the original trade, right? Okay, so here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Boom, there it is. Right through the liquidity. It's exactly what I was thinking it was going to do. Now, it's probably going to go a little bit further. All right, see what it does is it backs up, lets people think it's going to buy, and then boom, goes even further. It's probably going to keep doing it. I'm trying to, it's gotta get below this guy. There's no way it's gonna come close to this guy and then not get below it. But I'm trying to figure out where it's gonna stop. Right, see, these are just wicks as well. It could stop there, but I doubt it. And the reason I think it could stop there is because it could create another liquidity zone, right? To what it does is it leaves, and then once it comes back to it, it breaks it again. But I don't think so. I really think it's going to break this one. There we go. I should have just hit sell instead of waiting for it. See, this is my dumbass fault. This is my dumbass fault. This is what I do. I don't sell because I know it's going to sell, but instead I wait to see where it's going to actually stop and then buy from, and then I try to buy because I know it's going to get back up. I know eventually it's going to get back up again, up above the 1440. I mean, come on. Ethereum is exactly what everybody's looking for in crypto. It has the market cap. It has, I mean, it has the network. I mean, it's basically everything. So Ethereum is there. It is. I told you it was going to go through it. All right. Now the question is where to? Where is it going to go to? Here is the actual the order block. This is an order block that we have. It's getting toward that. Let me get my phone out because I need to buy soon. Okay, did it just hit the order block and turn around? And I missed it. Don't tell me I missed it. How far away? Okay, we're only a couple dollars away. I think that's it. Maybe not. Where would it be if it was to get into here? You know, it could try to get below this liquidity as well. Somewhere around 1191. So there's these equal lows right here. They're not really equal lows, but they're kind of equal lows. It's an area to where people think they would be safe to buy. But since there is congestion in this area, this could be the place where it stops. There could be a hidden order block in there that I am not seeing. Let me get into the 1 minute of it. That would have been it. It'd be this guy right here. 1195. Did it get lower than that? Even though it's been mitigated, it doesn't matter. It still could come back to it. Because this is the one where it took off from, right? So you get that's what you gotta find. You gotta, even though this was the start of it, it still kind of pulled up and then pushed down. And here's that last candle that where the push down and then took off. And it kind of meandered back to it, mitigated it, but then took off even more. But I think that may have been the low I was looking for. Or at least I hope it was. I don't think it was. I think it's coming in for round 2. Maybe people think it was going to buy. Now it's going to slam through it again. Again, probably maybe get down below this 1190 area, 1191 area, maybe to this 1187. Which 1187 makes sense, because that would actually be the 4-hour, right? So that's the thing. Sometimes you got to look at this on a bigger level to actually get. See, sometimes the smaller level will find you the exact moment, but sometimes the bigger time frames will give you the bigger picture of exactly where it's going to go. It looks like it is pulling up a little bit. Like I said, here's that liquidity level here that I drew out. Could try to drop below that and then hit this 1187 and then go up. I knew it was going to get below that liquidity level. I bet I was sitting there watching it. I knew that was just waiting. It was waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike, and I caught it. I'm not going to lie, I am in one trade. I caught it at exactly 1200. Or sorry, not 1200. Not for sure if that's a good thing or not. I mean, I'm in the green, but still, well, there's a $3 spread, so I'm $4 in the well, $4 in the green. $4 per 10 cents, I should say. So I'm not telling you how many 10 cents are in there. It looks like that may have been the bounce. It is. It's all right. I'm doing good. Caught it at 1200. All right. Now here's what we're looking for. Since it did slam through this, right? This is what's called your breaker. And now basically what it did is it caused a gap in price, like you would normally see a gap, right? And now generally what happens is it'll try to close that gap. And again, this is crypto, it's a lot different. And actually it may be doing it to this guy back here. It is. Like I said, the ideas that I'm presenting are Forex ideas. These are ideas that have existed in the foreign exchange world, and you know, the GBP USD market, the yen versus the pound market, the euro versus the franc Swiss market. These are all ideas that existed then. I'm just bringing them to crypto because nobody believes me that these kind of things are happening in crypto. Okay, it actually pushed through it. I think we did see the bottom. But, okay, so now we're getting to here. Okay. Okay. Be a bit of a retracement. Might touch that and then turn around and go back up. That's usually what happens. So if it comes up and it, see, it came up, it touched the, well, actually, whenever it came back down, it pulled up and touched it, right? And then once it came back up, it touched that price again. So that gap in price. So it was making sure that that price gap was filled, right? Came up and did it again. So there was a price gap here because it just blasted right through that. Whenever it blasts right through that, what it does is it's actually just repricing and it's skipping actual price numbers, right? So what price has to fill all those numbers, right? So that's what it did. It came back and now it's, well, it kind of filled these, right? came up here, filled those, and now it's probably going to do the same thing. If anything, it might actually pull back a little bit and then pull back up. That's what I would kind of expect it to do. But it did pull through all that liquidity, right? All that liquidity I was talking about up here. I mean, and it just drilled through it. All that liquidity area. The only thing that is concerning me now, let me push this together, is you have at this level. Let me take this off of here. Pull this across. Well, it kind of didn't get anywhere near it. Just even this out if it isn't evened out. Oh yeah, it's pretty much evened out. And boom, there was that spike down. Now it's moving up even more. Looks like we are in the clear. Now, and I want to see. Oh yeah, it's definitely, so it's got equal highs right here. Didn't mean to move that. But 2018 bullish breaker, so that 2018 bullish breaker can go to hell, because that happened a long time ago. Now what we're looking at is these, right? So there's liquidity right here, right? So now it's selling. Selling to make people think, oh, well, right here is the top. This is where it sold from last time. It had trouble with, right? And it's probably going to buy right through this, I'm hoping. And then here is another breaker. So here's another gap in price that it's looking to get across. And it's probably going to get up here and flirt with this line, honestly. Or it may just blow right through it. Yeah, I thought I'd flirt with it. make people think it's going to sell, trick people into selling. Pull back a little bit more. And then it'll turn around and then go back up through it. Why? Because there's liquidity up here. You also have people that have buy stops sitting up through here, so it'll probably blow through it really quick, right? And maybe hit the top of this, right? Pull back a little bit, go through this, and finally get to here. And then once it gets to here, I'm not for sure what's going to happen. Yeah, it's flirting with it. So now that it's flirting with this line, what it's doing is it's telling buyers, hey, sell, sell. You're actually getting a better price to sell, because you're getting closer and closer to this resistance line, right? You're getting closer to this resistance line. So you know, you're good enough to sell, and then put your stop loss right here, right above here, right? That's what it's telling people. And so it'll turn around and sell, right? Let people chase the sell, right? Some people are already hitting sell. At least, you know, that's what you'll see on my screen anyway. You'll see, you know, buy, sell, whatever. Actually, I'm in the closed section, but you hit trade, right? You have the option to buy or sell, right? Or, you know, if you're to do paper money, it'd be the same way. So let's do some paper money and do a market buy, right? Just for the hell of it. Quantity, do 5 of them. And then let's take profit at 12.35. So let's click this. Take profit at 12.30. $35. Or we could have sold, you know. If we would have sold, who knows if we would have made anything. My instinct is that we're going to eventually break through this line that I drew, right? Because this is partly resistance. This is your main resistance up here, is this guy, right? Because it's the bigger one. But it's slowly sneaking up on it because it's trying to entice people to sell. It's trying to entice people to sell. That way they can put their stop loss here, right? Come on now. I know you want to just bust through. It does. It's going to bust through. It's just going to take a moment. Like I said, it's enticing buyers. Or enticing sellers, I should say. See, push up a little bit more. And then the sellers are going, oh, you know, actually there's actually people waiting. They're waiting for it to get to the right time before they sell, you know. Boom, there it goes. Right through it. Just took some more profit. Knew it. Spike right through it, pull back. Right? People that had the buy stops, tricked those, and then pulled those people back. That way they got out of the trade. So what I mean by buy stops is that people were doing this, right? People had long positions and they had very short stop losses, right? Because then they thought it would pull back and then use this as their mechanism for what do you call it? Support. So they thought it would go through this, right? Go up higher than what it would, pull back, hit this as support, and then go long, right? So it took those people out of the trade, right? Well, at the same time, the people that were going short, right? And they were going short right down here, right? And they're putting their stop loss, you know, right here. You know, right at the top of this. You know, this is resistance, right? It can't get any higher than that because it's resistance. There's no way, you know. It's a solid line. Resistance is a solid line. It's never going to get past it. So it took both of those people out at once, right? And it's still continuing to take people out, right? Doing it again. Boom. Ooh, am I making money? Started at 1,200. Shaving off profits here and there. I'm glad I got this on camera too. I'm glad I got this on live. Hey Raja. This is a little bit advanced. Just to let you know. What I do is I do something called smart money, and what you'd have to do is you'd have to learn how retail trading works pretty much before you learn how to do smart money, because smart money is the exact opposite of retail. So you're taught certain things in retail trading, like trend lines and channels and you know, support, resistance, things like that, and how price is gonna adhere to those things. Whereas smart money says no. Smart money looks for what's actually happening in the market, where liquidity is, where people would be buying and selling, and wherever that's happening, smart money will seek that out and take out the people who are, I wouldn't say not smart enough, but don't know that that is happening, right? The retail theory behind things is it's kind of, you know, I've only been trading since May. I keep looking over here because my computer's over here, guys. Sorry, I know my camera's right here, so I should be looking directly at you guys. Um, but what happens in retail theory is that you're taught certain things, right? You're taught trend lines that, the the price is going to go along this trend, and it'll kind of make these arcs and then hit the trend line and make an arc and hit a trend line, and then you draw, like right here you could draw a trend line right now as to what's happening, so you could do one of these, right? And so whenever price gets close to this trend line, right, you could technically buy, right? That's what retail kind of teaches you, is that, since this is kind of a trend line, this is the way price is gonna go, so you could technically buy, right? Retail theory is almost kind of like the opposite. I mean, sometimes these trend lines do work, I'm not gonna lie. Um, but the reason these trend lines happen is due to the fact of price action, right? Of what's happening on the left side of the chart. So everything that is happening here has to do with something that happened previously, right? Um, or is the product of something that happened previously. So as you can see, this trend line that I did draw out, what could happen is that since people are buying at this trend line, it could easily go through it, right? Because people have been buying at the trend line and seeking out liquidity, right? So seeking out liquidity means, hey, I'm gonna buy at this trend line here, and I'm gonna put my stop loss, right here, right? I trade CFDs, I trade futures, so that's how what I'm talking about. If you're just somebody that puts in money into Ethereum, like in a HODL account, something like that, this may not apply to you, because you don't worry about being one of those people that want to try to yeah, Raja, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you some tips and tricks. um since you just said you started putting in money into Ethereum, the best thing, especially you're probably doing it through an exchange, right? Like Coinbase or Binance or KuCoin or I I can't think of all of there's so many of them that I couldn't even tell you. um but you're probably one of those people that puts money in that. That's perfectly fine. Leave it in there, right? Because the worst thing to do, um as somebody that does that puts money into cryptocurrencies through an exchange, is to try to find the top, right? And in all the money that you've invested, into Ethereum or whatever it is, and you get to the top, right? And or you find a good place and you go, oh, I think it's gonna sell, and then you sell everything that you have, right? And then you try to buy back at a better price, right? It's possible that you can do that, but to be honest, with the fees that come along with it, with the possibility that you could miss the mark, it's not worth you know trying to sell at a certain point and then buy back at a lower point. Yeah, right. um uh I am in impairment and bought my shares at 8.95, and 5 minutes later dropped to 8.83. Oh yeah, I mean that's gonna happen, man. That's just gonna happen. Don't worry. It's not gonna go up. One thing for a beginner to learn is that your money is never ever just gonna continue going up, right? What price wants to do is price wants to balance, right? And then price also seeks liquidity. Those are the two things price does, right? So one thing you have to know where liquidity is and what liquidity means, right? And liquidity is where people are going to be buying and selling in the market, right? They're going to be finding those highs, right, to where they want to sell. They're going to be trying to find those lows to where they're going to try to buy. That's what liquidity means, right? So, right, and then also again, price wants to balance. And what do I mean by balance? Let's look at this from a 4-hour perspective. Right. So the one thing that scares me, right? Okay, so I have this thing called the no zone. I don't think price is going to get back into this zone. And if it does, that's not a good thing, because we've, okay, so Ethereum spent a lot of time down here in these areas, right? In the 200s and the 100s and whatnot. It has balanced itself out to death. In November, of course, boom, it took off, right? And it took off for a good reason, right? But there are people in here, and right now it is getting institutionalized. And what I mean by institutionalized is that there are large institutions that own a lot of Ethereum, not only own a lot of Ethereum, but trade it as well, right? So you think I should leave my shares in there until I get a whole ETH and then start selling? No, Raja. What you should do is just continue purchasing ETH, right? Or purchasing Ethereum. But try to find areas that are going to be low points, right? I would say start studying the basics of price action. I'm trying to think of somebody. Here, let me go to YouTube really quick and get off the charts and try to see if I can't find somebody that will help you kind of understand. Look, I'm live. Hey, let me see here. What is, you know what? I'm trying to think of this guy's name, and he's really good. This guy, Rainer Teo, right? Um, look up Rainer Teo's videos. He is sorry, he's really good. He has a lot of different courses.